Alright, so to begin, you'll need the cardboard that is measured out to whatever bed you have. Normally you'd glue a couple boards together, but since mine was already 3 pieces of cardboard thick, I didn't have to do that, which was great because it cut out a lot of time for me. Then you just lay your upholstery foam and cut off the excess. Pay attention to what you're doing because I was watching TV doing this and I ended up messing up the measurements and cut off too much at the bottom and had to fill in the blanks with what I was doing. But this was also my first time, so I'm learning from that mistake. I got my upholstery foam from Walmart and I got 2 inches thick because I wanted my tufts to be pretty deep. You can get whatever thickness you want, but I would recommend getting 1 inch or 2 inches thick because it turns out a lot better to me. After you have cut out the foam that you need to cover your board, you just want to hot glue it down. If you don't own a glue gun, get a bigger one. The mini ones just are not great for these types of projects. They eat so many glue sticks, it's ridiculous. I tried to glue the foam to that piece of foam to get a more seamless look. It didn't work out as I planned, but oh well. And then you can see at the bottom that the foam isn't long enough to cover the whole board, so I had to improvise and take another piece and cut it out just to cover that piece up. So pay attention when you are cutting out your pieces of foam and laying it on the board so you don't have the same problem that I did. It still turned out fairly flipping cute for me to have been doing this for the first time ever, but to avoid all the mistakes that I made, please just listen and pay attention to what you're doing. After you have placed and glued your foam down, you're going to want to lay your fabric over the board and just get an idea of how much you'll need. Since I got 4 yards of fabric, I knew I didn't need that much, and I just cut off some of the excess. But I ended up cutting off too much fabric, and now I know I will leave at least 10 inches for room for error, because when you are tufting, the fabric does get pulled. But since this was my first time, I did not know that, and I had to fix my mistake with that too. I made a lot of mistakes doing this the first time, guys. Learn from me, please. Jesus. Next, I did 5 horizontal lines about 5 inches apart just to spread out where I'm going to put my tufts. And since I can't draw a straight line to save my life, I used that piece of cardboard that I had left over. And I wanted to put my buttons 7 inches apart, so I measured 7 inches and marked that with an X because that's where I'm going to be cutting out the holes. For the second row, I did something a little different because I didn't want my buttons to be in a straight line down. So I did 5 inches from the start and 7 inches from the first point so that I kind of had a zigzag pattern, which you'll start to see as I'm putting the X's down. Then I just repeated the pattern with the next lines down, doing the 7 inches from the start and then the 5 plus 7 inches from the start, yada yada yada. Then you're going to want to cut out the X's. Make sure you are cutting those holes so freaking deep enough to where you can like stick your finger down in there and wiggle it around, because it makes tufting so much easier. I did not cut my holes deep enough at first, so when I started tufting I realized it was super difficult and I had to go back in and cut out all my holes all over again just so they were deep enough. Now finally, after all the holes that I poked in there, it is time to tuft. So what you're gonna wanna do is figure out where your holes are, poke your finger through, and you're gonna wanna staple it down. Now what I'm doing is I'm scrunching up the fabric a little bit so that it kinda, I don't know how to explain how I want it to look, but you'll see what I mean why I'm scrunching it up. And I did 2 rows at a time so that when I'm scrunching it up, it kind of looks how it's supposed to. I probably didn't need to do that, but it helped me, okay? Now, I did a couple of staples in each hole just to make sure that it's sturdy and secure in there. And I kind of turned my staple gun sideways just to make sure I'm touching the cardboard and not stapling into the foam, because it'll just pop right back up and that'll be pointless and you just wasted staples, you know? My fingers ended up hurting because I was pushing my nails down, so I had to use like a marker or something to hold the fabric into the holes while I'm scrunching and doing the freaking most. And I'm sorry guys, my camera shut off because I'm doing this on my phone and I was running out of space, but this is what it looked like halfway through. When you're finished tufting, you want to make sure you secure all the fabric to the back of the board by pulling it really tight and stapling it down. This is what it looked like completely done before I added any of the buttons. And the buttons I just got from Walmart, and I ended up hot gluing them in each of the holes that I did from tufting. To fix my mistake of cutting off too much fabric, I just stapled down what I had first and then took the excess fabric, folded it over, and then stapled it in each of the holes so that it kind of blended a little better. That's how it turned out. I didn't put any in the bottom row because of how I messed up the foam. And to hang it up, I just took a piece of the hanging wire off an old picture that I had. Since the cardboard was so thick, I was able to screw the hanging wire into the back of the headboard, and I ended up hanging it up on my wall like a picture, and it's pretty sturdy. Now, if you don't want to make holes in your wall, just use a bunch of command strip. If you stuck around till the end, thank you so much for watching my first time ever making a tufted headboard. If you have any questions or anything, you know where to put them. Don't forget to subscribe because I have so many more projects that I will be recording better coming for you guys real soon.